The wind screamed across the frozen valley, carrying knives of ice with every gust. White snow stretched as far as the eye could see, broken only by dark, jagged rocks rising like teeth from the earth. A lone human walked there, wrapped in a heavy survival suit, his boots sinking deep into the frost. His breath fogged inside his helmet as he checked the scanner on his wrist. The signal was faint, almost gone. He was sure no one lived here. Yet something had pulled him toward this frozen wasteland. He kept walking, each step crunching under the snow. Silence pressed on him. Not even the sound of animals, no birds, no movement, only the howl of the storm. He thought maybe this planet was truly dead. Still, his instincts told him to stay alert. Then he froze. A sound. A cry. At first he thought the wind was tricking him, but no, the sound came again. It was small, high-pitched, almost like a child's voice. His heart quickened. No human child could be here. Slowly he turned, scanning the white horizon. Through the haze of snow a figure appeared, small, stumbling, running toward him with desperate speed. It was not human. The figure grew clearer as it came closer. A little girl, but her skin shimmered faint blue under the weak sunlight. Her eyes glowed like molten silver, and her hair fell in icy strands around her face. She wore torn fabric that looked far too thin for the cold. The human lifted his hand cautiously. Was it real? Or some alien trick? The girl stumbled, fell into the snow, then pushed herself up again, crying out in broken words. Human, human, please. Her voice was raw, shaking with fear and pain. She reached him and grabbed his gloved hand with her tiny, freezing fingers. Her body trembled so violently he thought she would collapse any second. Tears froze on her cheeks as she screamed. My mom, she is dying. She is dying from the cold. Please, you must help her. The human's chest tightened. He looked down at her, this little alien child begging him with eyes full of terror. She was so small, so fragile, yet she had run across the deadly storm just to find him. Where is she? He asked, his voice firm but gentle. The girl pointed with a shaking hand toward the dark rocks in the distance. In cave, not far, but too cold, she cannot breathe. Please, human. Please help. His mind raced. He knew the rules. Humans were forbidden to interfere in alien life and death matters. The galactic law was clear. No human technology, no human rescue, no human medicine for alien biology. Breaking it could mean exile, or worse. But as he looked at the girl, crying and holding his hand like it was the last hope in the universe, he felt something stir inside him. What kind of man would leave a child to watch her mother die? The storm howled again, pushing snow into their faces. He bent down, lifted the little girl into his arms, and spoke through his helmet speaker. Take me to her. Her glowing eyes widened with hope. She clung to his suit and whispered, this way. They moved quickly across the ice. The human's boots crushed through frozen layers as he followed her weak directions. Soon they reached the jagged rocks where a small opening led into darkness. The cave was narrow and cold. Inside, frost covered the walls like glass. He switched on his helmet light, the beam cutting through the shadows. At the far end he saw her. A tall alien woman lay on the ground, her body curled as if trying to keep warm. Her skin, once a faint blue like her daughter's, had turned pale white. Her lips were cracked, her breath shallow and weak. The girl broke free from his arms and ran to her mother, falling to her knees. Mom, I found him. I found a human. He will help us. The mother opened her eyes slowly. Her gaze, dim and tired, fell on the human standing in the entrance of the cave. For a moment, fear flickered across her face. Humans were not meant to be here, but then her eyes softened. Her lips trembled as she tried to speak, but no sound came. The girl looked back at the human, tears glimmering in her glowing eyes. She is dying. Please, human. If you do nothing, she will not see the sun again. The man's heart pounded. He stood there, torn between law and conscience, between safety and compassion. Outside, the storm roared louder, as if the universe itself demanded an answer. Would he turn away and let the alien mother die, or would he defy the galactic law and risk everything for a child's desperate cry in the snow? The cave was quiet except for the faint, broken breaths of the alien woman. The human stepped closer, his helmet light shining on her fragile body. Frost clung to her skin like cruel chains, and her chest rose and fell in weak, uneven motions. Her eyes barely opened, but when they did, the human saw only pain and exhaustion. The little alien girl knelt beside her mother, clutching her cold hand. Mom, I brought him. He will help. Her voice shook, half with hope, half with fear. The human removed one glove, pressed his bare hand against the woman's neck. His skin almost burned from the freezing touch. He pulled back quickly, his jaw tightening. Hypothermia. Her body temperature had dropped far too low. He checked his scanner. The readings were unstable, but clear enough. Her heart was slowing. If she lost a few more degrees, she would never wake again. The girl looked up at him, silver eyes glowing in the dim light. You can save her, right? Humans. You know how to fight the cold. He hesitated. His training echoed in his mind. Do not interfere with alien biology. Galactic law forbids it. Every explorer learned it from the first day. The punishment was severe. But then he looked at the girl again, her tiny hands holding her mother's frozen fingers, her tears falling silently. She will die if you do nothing, the girl whispered, her voice breaking. The human knelt, putting his survival kit on the icy ground. He opened it quickly, pulling out a fire starter unit and thermal sheets. His breath came faster, not from the cold but from the weight of his choice. He spoke firmly, though doubt still gnawed inside him. We need warmth now. The girl's face lit with a spark of hope, though her eyes still shimmered with fear. What will you do? The human pressed the fire starter against a pile of dry fragments he had collected earlier. With a hiss, a bright flame burst to life, pushing shadows back against the frozen walls. The cave filled with flickering orange light. The girl gasped, her glowing eyes widening. Fire. I've only heard stories. I never thought it was real. The flames licked upward, giving warmth to the air. The human unrolled the thermal sheet, wrapping it around the alien woman's trembling body. Her breathing steadied just slightly, but her color remained pale. Come on, hold on, the human muttered, adjusting the heater near her chest. Minutes crawled by. The girl sat close, watching every move with wide, desperate eyes. The fire crackled, warming the small cave, but it wasn't enough. The woman still shivered violently. Her body was too far gone, the human's brow furrowed. He knew fire could keep her from slipping further, but it could not reverse what was already happening inside. Her core temperature had dropped dangerously low. Without advanced care, she wouldn't last long. The girl saw his troubled face. Her small hands gripped his sleeve. It isn't working, is it? You must have more. Humans always have more. He froze at her words. More. Yes, he had more. Human technology designed for survival in extreme conditions. But using it on her would be a direct violation of the law. His chest felt heavy, as if the whole galaxy was watching him. The mother stirred, her lips parting. She whispered something weakly in her alien tongue. The girl leaned close, tears in her eyes, then looked back at the human. She says, she knows you should not help. She says the law forbids it. But she also says, she does not want her daughter to be alone. The human swallowed hard. The flames danced across his visor as he stared at the dying woman. He could walk away, say nothing, pretend he never saw them. No one would know. He would be safe. But the girl's silver eyes locked onto him, burning with desperate hope. Please, she begged again, her voice shaking like brittle glass. Do not let her die. The human reached into his pack and pulled out a compact thermal heater, technology strictly forbidden to use on alien life. It could flood her body with concentrated warmth, maybe enough to revive her. The girl's breath caught as she saw the device. What is that? Something dangerous, he muttered. Something your people are not meant to see. He pressed the heater gently against the woman's chest. A soft glow spread across her body, warming her from the inside out. Her shivering slowed. Her breaths came stronger. The girl gasped, her small hands covering her mouth. It's working. It's really working. But the human knew it wasn't over. Hypothermia was a cruel enemy. It could trick you, make you think the danger was gone, only for the body to shut down suddenly. He kept the device steady, watching her vitals flicker on his scanner. Then a sound cut through the cave, a low hum. Engines. The girl's eyes widened. She turned toward the entrance, her face pale with fear. Patrol ships, she whispered. They will see the fire. The human's blood ran cold. If the patrol found him here helping an alien, he would be dragged before the council, branded a traitor. The woman's weak eyes opened, and for a moment they locked on his. She whispered faintly, almost a breath, yet he understood. Thank you. The girl clung to him, tears streaming down her glowing face, and the human knew. His choice had already been made. The cave glowed with the small flame the human had made. Shadows danced across the icy walls, bending and twisting like silent watchers. The alien mother lay wrapped in the silver thermal sheet, her body faintly glowing from the human device pressed to her chest. Her breaths were steadier, but still shallow. The little alien girl stayed close to her mother, her glowing eyes fixed on the human. She is better, but she is not safe, is she? The human did not answer at once. He watched the numbers on his scanner. The alien mother's body temperature was rising, but far too slowly. It was like trying to push back a flood with his bare hands. He frowned, his jaw tight. "No," he said at last. "She is not safe yet." The girl's face fell. She clutched her mother's cold hand tighter. "Then you must do more. Humans always find a way." Her words cut deep. Humans did find ways. They adapted, survived, fought impossible odds. It was their nature. But this time it was not just about survival. It was about law. The Galactic Council had written it clearly. No human fire, no human medicine, no human technology for aliens. They called it balance. They said humans would ruin the galaxy with their interference. The human glanced at the fire. Its orange glow painted the girl's face. She looked so small, so fragile, yet her hope was heavy enough to break him. A sound echoed outside, the low hum of patrol engines passing over the cave. The girl froze, fear flashing in her eyes. She whispered, "If they see the fire, if they smell it, they will know." The human put a finger to his lips. Quiet, both of them listened. The engines grew louder, then faded again into the storm. Silence returned, but the fear stayed. The girl hugged her knees, trembling. The human turned back to the woman. Her body shook less now, but she was still trapped between life and death. He knew a simple fire would never save her. He needed to act, fast. He reached into his pack again. This time he pulled out something far more dangerous, a compact medical injector. Inside, nanofluid shimmered like liquid light. It was designed for humans stranded in extreme cold, microscopic machines that traveled through the blood, repairing damage and heating from within. The girl gasped when she saw it. "What is that?" "Human medicine," he said, his voice low, heavy. She leaned closer, her glowing eyes wide with fear and wonder. "Will it save her?" "It might, but it was not made for her kind." He looked down at the injector, then at the alien woman. "It could heal her, or it could kill her instantly." The girl's lips trembled. "But if you do nothing, she will die anyway." The human closed his eyes for a moment. She was right. Every second he hesitated, the mother slipped further away. He thought of the law, of the council's judgment, but louder than all of that was the memory of the girl's voice in the snow. "Please, human, help her." He opened his eyes, resolve burning within them. "Then we take the chance." He pressed the injector gently against the alien woman's neck. The girl held her breath, clutching her mother's hand tightly. With a soft hiss, the device released its shining fluid into her bloodstream. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the woman's body jerked violently. Her chest heaved and her eyes snapped open, glowing brighter than before. She gasped as if pulled back from the edge of death itself. The girl cried out, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Mom!" She threw her arms around her mother, who now breathed deeply, her skin slowly regaining its faint blue glow. The human exhaled, relief washing over him. The nanofluid was working. It was stabilizing her body, warming her blood. He had done it, but triumph quickly turned to dread. Outside, the storm was breaking. Through the cave entrance, he saw lights flicker in the sky, the patrol ship circling lower. The fire, the heat signature, the unusual readings, they would be noticed. The alien mother, still weak but conscious now, lifted her eyes to him. Her voice was faint but clear. "Human." "Why?" He met her gaze. "Because I could not watch you die." Her lips trembled, then curved into the faintest smile. She whispered something to her daughter. The girl translated, her voice choked with emotion. "She says you are foolish, but also brave. She says you carry fire in your heart." The human turned away, his face hidden in shadow. Fire in his heart, yes, but that fire might soon burn him alive. The hum of engines grew louder. The cave shook as snow tumbled from the rocks above. The patrol was coming closer. The girl looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. "If they find you here, if they see what you have done, they will take you away. They will punish you. He checked his weapon, his scanner, his dwindling supplies. Then he looked at the mother and daughter together, their faces glowing faintly in the firelight. "I'll deal with them," he said quietly. The girl blinked. "But how? You are only one human." He tightened his grip on the weapon. His voice was steady, calm, but beneath it ran a current of defiance. "One human is enough." The fire crackled behind him, throwing sparks into the air. Outside, the shadows of patrol ships passed over the cave, their lights piercing the storm. The human stood tall, ready to face whatever came. For the first time in a long while, he felt no doubt. He had chosen defiance. The storm outside the cave grew weaker, but the danger grew stronger. The sound of engines hummed above the frozen valley like a warning drum. Patrol ships were close now, circling lower, scanning for signs of life. Inside the cave, the fire still burned, crackling softly. The alien mother lay wrapped in the thermal sheet, her breaths deeper than before. The forbidden human nanofluid worked inside her, slowly repairing damage, slowly giving her strength. The little alien girl never let go of her mother's hand. Her glowing silver eyes turned to the human. "You saved her, but they will come for you. They always come when humans break the law." The human crouched near the fire, checking the readings on his scanner. The numbers looked better. Her body was stabilizing, but his face stayed hard. He knew the girl was right. He looked at the device still in his hand, the injector now empty. His people had built it to save explorers from deadly cold. But he had crossed the line, using it on an alien. A simple act of compassion had now become a crime. The girl broke the silence. "Why do they forbid it? Why would they rather let us die?" The human sighed, his breath fogging inside the helmet before he lifted it off. His face was scarred from old battles, his eyes tired but burning with a quiet fire. "They say it keeps balance," he said. "They fear that if humans help too much, other species will depend on us. They fear humans will change everything." The girl frowned. "But you changed everything for me. You changed everything for her." She looked at her mother, who slept with steadier breaths. How can saving life be wrong? Her words struck deep, sharper than any blade. The human had no answer, only the storm's echo and the far-off hum of patrols. He stood, walked to the entrance of the cave, and peered into the fading storm. In the distance, bright searchlights cut across the white sky. The patrols were sweeping closer. If they found the fire, or the thermal energy from his devices, it would be over. The girl followed him, tugging at his sleeve. "Hide it, hide the fire. If they see—" He shook his head. Too late. The fire's smoke, the heat, their scanners already know something is here. Fear flooded her eyes. "Then what will you do?" He turned to her, kneeling so his eyes met hers. "I will protect you. Both of you. But you must stay quiet. Do not leave this cave." The girl's small hands clenched. "But you can't fight them all. You are only one." The human gave a faint, grim smile. "One is enough." He walked back to his pack, pulling out another piece of forbidden technology, a compact shield emitter. It was small, no bigger than his hand, but when activated it could cover the cave entrance in a thin, invisible barrier strong enough to hold back energy blasts. The girl's eyes widened when she saw it spark to life. "What is that?" "Protection," he said. The blue shimmer flickered across the mouth of the cave before turning invisible. Now it looked like empty air, but the human knew it was there. An unbreakable wall of human engineering. The girl whispered, "If they find out, if they see you use this, they will not just punish you, they will hunt you." He glanced at the sleeping mother, then back at the girl, then let them hunt. For a while the cave was silent except for the fire and the mother's breathing. The girl sat close to her mother, her face lit by the flames. She studied the human's strong, weathered face as he checked his equipment, preparing for what was coming. "You are not like the others," she said softly. "Other humans would have walked away." "But you stayed, why?" The human's eyes narrowed, his voice low but steady. "Because no law is greater than a child's cry for help." The girl's chest tightened. She looked at him with a mix of awe and fear. In that moment she believed the stories she had heard as a child. Stories of humans with hearts of fire, who defied the cold void of space, who changed fate with their stubborn courage. Outside, the patrol ships drew closer. Their searchlights pierced the storm, beams of white cutting across the snow. The hum of engines grew into a roar. The human adjusted his weapon, then took position near the cave entrance. His shield emitter glowed faintly in his palm. His scanner beeped, warning him of approaching life forms. "They're landing," he muttered. The girl's face went pale. She hugged her mother tightly. "What will happen if they find us?" He didn't look back at her, only kept his eyes on the shifting shadows outside. "If they find me, I will be taken. If they find you, they may let you live, but they won't let you keep me." The girl shook her head violently. "No, you saved us. I won't let them take you." Her voice cracked with emotion, but the human gave no answer. His mind was focused, his heartbeat steady, his fire already burning. The snow outside exploded with light as a patrol ship descended onto the frozen ground. Its engines sent waves of snow rolling across the valley. Alien soldiers stepped out, their armor glowing under the stormlight. The girl pressed her face into her mother's shoulder, trembling. The human lifted his weapon, the shield emitter humming louder. For a moment, silence. Then a voice rang out through the storm, harsh and commanding. "Human, we know you are here. Step out now. By order of the Galactic Council, you are under arrest." The human stood tall, his silhouette lit by the fire behind him. His voice carried across the cave, strong and unyielding. "No," the girl gasped. Her mother stirred faintly, her eyes opening. The soldiers outside shifted, weapons ready. The human raised his weapon, firelight glinting in his eyes. "If you want me," he said, his voice steady as stone, "you'll have to come through my fire." The storm outside had weakened, but the tension inside the cave had grown heavier than iron. The fire crackled faintly, sending sparks upward, while the human stood at the mouth of the cave, his weapon steady, his eyes fixed on the shadows moving outside. The patrol ship's engines hummed like a predator circling its prey. Its searchlights carved through the snow, landing on the rocks around the cave. Figures appeared, tall alien soldiers, armored in dark plates that shimmered under the glow. Their helmets hid their faces, but their weapons gleamed sharp and ready. "Human!" The commander's voice thundered through a loudspeaker. "Step outside. You have broken galactic law. You will surrender or be destroyed." The human didn't move. His shield emitter hummed softly, invisible but strong, stretching across the cave entrance. Behind him, the little alien girl clung to her mother, her glowing eyes wide with fear. The girl whispered, "They will kill you if you don't go. Please, God, don't let them hurt you." The human glanced back only for a moment. His voice was calm but firm. "I told you, one human is enough." The girl's chest tightened. She had never seen anyone stand so tall, so unshaken, even with death waiting outside. The soldiers advanced, their heavy steps crunching on the snow. The searchlight beams grew brighter, blinding against the white ground. The commander lifted his weapon and shouted again, "This is your last warning. Come out, or we will burn. You alive in there?" The human raised his voice, steady and strong, carrying across the storm. "You want me? Then come take me." The soldiers hesitated. They had expected fear, begging, surrender. Instead, they heard defiance, burning like fire. Inside the cave, the alien mother stirred weakly. Her eyes, dim but alive, opened as she whispered something in her tongue. The girl bent close, listening, then looked up at the human with tears in her eyes. She says, "You are the first human she trusts. She says you carry courage in your blood." The human's jaw tightened. His eyes flicked back to the patrol outside. "Then let's hope courage is enough." The first shot came suddenly, an energy blast from the soldiers' rifles. It hit the invisible shield with a flash of blue light. The barrier rippled, but held. Sparks of energy scattered across the cave walls. The girl gasped. "They will break through." The human shook his head. "Not yet." Another volley of shots rained down, striking the shield again and again. The cave glowed with flashes of blue and white. The human stood calm, watching the barrier pulse with each impact. Outside, the commander snarled, "Stubborn human, your shield will fail. When it does, we will take you, and the aliens you hide will suffer too." The girl cried out, her voice sharp and desperate. "No, leave him alone. He saved my mother." Her small voice carried through the cave entrance, surprising the soldiers. They looked at each other, shifting uneasily. The commander raised a hand to silence them. "Child," he barked, his voice cruel and cold. "You do not understand. Humans are dangerous. Their fire is poison. He broke the law. He must be punished." The girl's silver eyes glowed brighter, filled with tears. She pressed herself against the human's side. "He is not poison. He is hope. Without him, my mother would be dead." The human placed a hand gently on her shoulder, steadying her. "Stay behind me." The shield flickered again under the heavy blasts. Warning lights blinked on his emitter. It would not last forever. He knew he had only minutes. Quickly, he knelt and adjusted his weapon, a compact rifle with settings forbidden for use on alien worlds. He switched it to a non-lethal mode, a pulse strong enough to disable but not kill. The girl looked at him with trembling hope. "You will fight them?" His voice was quiet, but fierce. "If I must." The patrol soldiers lined up outside, preparing for one final barrage. The commander shouted, "Ready, on my mark." Before he could finish, the human acted. He dropped the shield for half a second, aimed his weapon, and fired a blinding pulse of energy. The blast struck the snow at the soldiers' feet, exploding into a wave of light. The ground shook, snow flying upward in a storm of white powder. The soldiers stumbled back, blinded, their formation broken. The human quickly reactivated the shield, the barrier flashing back into place. He stood tall, his rifle steady. "Enough games," he shouted into the storm. "I will not surrender. Not now. Not ever." The girl's heart pounded. Her tears turned to something else: pride. She saw him not just as a human, but as something greater, a protector, a warrior. The alien mother's voice, weak but clear, rose behind them. "He carries fire." The girl nodded, whispering, "Yes, Mom. Fire that even the storm cannot kill." Outside, the commander roared in anger. "So be it, human. You want war? Then war it shall be." The soldiers lifted their weapons again, energy building in their rifles. The storm itself seemed to hold its breath. Inside the cave, the human narrowed his eyes. His voice was low, almost to himself, but the girl heard. "I've defied the law. I've broken their chains. Now I'll show them what one human can do." The soldiers outside advanced once more, their shadows stretching across the snow. The human stood firm, weapon raised, firelight glowing behind him, and as the storm swallowed the valley in silence, the battle between one human's defiance and the council's law was about to begin. The valley outside the cave shook with the sound of weapons charging. Blue light flashed in the storm as the patrol soldiers raised their rifles, ready to strike again. Inside, the shield shimmered weakly, cracks of energy rippling across its surface. The human knew it could not hold much longer. Behind him, the alien mother breathed shallowly, her recovery still fragile. The little girl clung to her, her glowing eyes wide with fear. She whispered, "Human, they will break through. What will you do?" The human didn't look back. His voice was steady, but his jaw was tight. "I'll hold them off, but your mother, she still needs more." The girl blinked, confused. "More? You already saved her with your fire." He shook his head. "The fire bought time. The nanofluid gave her strength, but her blood is still too cold. It isn't warming fast enough." He looked at his scanner. Her core temperature was rising, but too slowly. If the stress of the battle shook the cave, if the cold rushed back in, she might still slip away. The girl's lips trembled. "Then what can you do?" The human stared at the blinking red warning on his scanner. He had one last option, an emergency procedure he had sworn never to use outside his own species, a dangerous transfusion. His survival kit carried heat blood packs, special human fluids heated with nanotech that could stabilize body temperature during hypothermia. But they were designed for human biology. Injecting it into alien veins could save her, or kill her instantly. He closed his eyes for a second, hearing again the law, the warnings, the punishments. Then he looked at the girl, holding her mother's hand with desperate hope. He made his choice. He knelt beside the mother, pulling out the injector tubes. The girl gasped. What are you doing? Something dangerous, he said quietly. But it's her only chance. The girl clutched his sleeve. If it fails, then she dies. But if I don't try, she dies anyway. Tears streamed down the girl's glowing cheeks. She looked at her mother, then back at him, and nodded. Do it. Please. He worked quickly, attaching the transfusion line to the heated blood pack. The fluid glowed faintly red, pulsing with warmth. His hands moved steady, though his heart raced. He guided the needle into the mother's arm, releasing the flow of heat into her veins. At first, nothing. Then her body jerked, a faint shiver running through her. The scanner beeped, showing her temperature rising faster now. The girl cried out, half in fear, half in hope. Is it working? The human checked the readings, his chest tightening. Maybe. But it could be too much for her system. Her mother's breathing grew rapid, her skin glowing brighter, almost too bright. The girl gripped her hand tighter, whispering prayers in her alien tongue. Before the human could check further, the shield at the cave entrance screamed with energy. A powerful blast struck it, sending sparks flying. The barrier flickered, then stabilized again, but weaker. The human snapped his head toward the entrance. The soldiers were trying to overload the shield. It would fail within minutes. He grabbed his weapon and stood. Stay with her, he told the girl. I'll keep them away. The girl's voice shook. But you can't fight them all. He looked at her, his eyes fierce, fire reflecting in them. I don't need to fight them all. I just need to buy her enough time. The soldiers outside fired again, the cave lighting up with blinding blue. The shield bent and cracked like glass about to shatter. The commander's voice roared, "Break through! Take the human alive if you can, but kill him if you must." The human steadied his rifle, aimed through the shield, and fired a pulse shot. It struck one soldier in the chest, sending him flying into the snow. Another shot rang out, dropping a second. The girl gasped. She had never seen such power in a single human. The shield cracked again, alarms screaming on his emitter. He reloaded, his hands moving with practiced speed. Come on, just a little longer, he muttered. Behind him, the transfusion continued, the alien mother's skin glowing brighter, her breathing growing stronger. The scanner beeped in sharp tones. Her temperature was climbing fast, maybe too fast. The girl cried out, "She's burning inside." The human cursed under his breath, running back for a second. He adjusted the injector, slowing the flow. She's fighting it. Her body doesn't understand this blood. But if she can hold on... Another explosion rocked the cave, cutting him off. The shield shattered in a storm of sparks, collapsing with a final hiss. The girl screamed. Soldiers stormed the entrance, weapons glowing. The human spun, rifle raised. Energy blasts lit the cave like lightning. He ducked, fired, rolled across the ice. His shot struck true, dropping 2 soldiers instantly. The girl clung to her mother, covering her ears from the deafening sounds of war. Please, human, don't die! The human's muscles burned, but he fought like a storm. He dodged a blast, fired again, his weapon glowing hot. One soldier reached the cave wall, aiming for the girl, but the human struck him down with a fierce pulse shot before he could fire. The commander stepped forward, his armor glowing brighter than the others. His weapon hummed with deadly power. Enough, human. You can't win. Surrender! The human stood tall, chest heaving, his weapon still steady. His voice was iron. Not while they breathe, the commander sneered. Then you will die with them. But before he could fire, a sound came from behind. A weak, trembling voice. What? Stop. Everyone froze. The alien mother had risen slightly, her glowing eyes burning brighter than before. Her breathing was ragged but strong. She looked at the soldiers, then at the human. The girl sobbed with joy. She's awake. She's alive. The human's heart pounded. The transfusion had worked. She had survived. The commander's face twisted with shock. Impossible. She should be dead. The human stepped forward, fire blazing in his eyes. No, she lives. Because one human refused to obey your law. The cave fell silent, broken only by the mother's voice, weak but filled with defiance. He carries fire, and you cannot put it out. The cave glowed with the fire's last embers, but the real fire burned in the eyes of those within. The alien mother sat weak but awake, her breathing steady now, her skin returning to its natural faint blue. Her daughter clung to her side, tears of relief shining in her glowing silver eyes. At the entrance, the human stood tall, weapon steady, his body marked with bruises and burns from the fight. Around him lay the snow scorched from blasts and fallen soldiers groaning in pain. Only the commander remained strong, his armor glowing as he raised his weapon. The commander's voice thundered, sharp as ice. "You broke the law. You poisoned alien blood with human fire. For this you must be punished." The human's voice was calm, but every word carried weight. Punished for saving a life? Punished for refusing to let a child watch her mother die? The commander sneered. The law is not about kindness. It is about balance. If humans interfere, the galaxy becomes theirs to shape. We cannot allow that. The little girl stepped forward, her small body shaking but her voice loud with courage. "He is not poison, he is hope. Without him, my mother would be dead. If this is your balance, then it is cruel." The commander's eyes narrowed behind his mask. He lifted his weapon toward the human. "Then the balance will be restored with your blood." The human raised his rifle, but before either could fire, the alien mother spoke again. Her voice was weak but filled with defiance. "You call it balance. I call it fear." The commander hesitated, startled. The mother's glowing eyes locked onto his. "You fear humans because they choose. They choose to fight, to survive, to help even when told not to. That choice is their fire. And fire spreads." The human's chest tightened at her words. She understood. The commander's weapon hummed louder. Energy building. "Enough, human, your fire ends here." But before he could strike, the human acted. His weapon flashed, not at the commander but at the ground beside him. Snow and rock exploded upward, blinding the soldier still standing. The human charged through the smoke, slamming his rifle into the commander's weapon, knocking it aside. The two clashed, soldier against explorer, law against defiance. The commander swung with crushing force, but the human dodged, countering with sharp, precise strikes. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying in the frozen air. The girl watched, her heart pounding. Her small hands clutched her mother's, whispering, "Please." Let him win. The fight raged on. The commander was strong, but the human fought with something more than strength. He fought with fire, the stubborn will to protect. Finally, with a surge of energy, the human struck the commander down, pinning him against the icy ground. His weapon pointed at the commander's chest. The cave was silent except for the crackle of fire and the heavy sound of breathing. The commander snarled, "Do it then, kill me. Show the galaxy what humans really are. Violent, lawless, dangerous." The human's finger rested on the trigger. For a moment, anger burned hot in his chest. This man had threatened a child, tried to take her mother, and called compassion a crime. Ending him would be easy. But then he looked back, at the girl's wide, glowing eyes filled not with fear but hope. At the mother, weak but alive, whispering words of trust. Slowly he lowered his weapon. "No," he said firmly. "I won't kill you. That's not what makes us human." The commander froze, stunned. The human stood tall, his voice ringing clear through the cave. "What makes us human is choice, and I choose life." The mother's lips curved into a faint smile. The girl cried softly, her tears falling into the snow. But the silence did not last. Outside, the roar of more engines filled the air. Shadows stretched across the valley as two more patrol ships descended, their lights blazing against the snow. Reinforcements. The girl's hope flickered. "More soldiers. They'll take you away." The human's jaw tightened. He looked at the mother and daughter, then at the commander still on the ground. The battle was not over. It was only beginning. The commander sneered again, regaining his voice. "You cannot run. The council will know of this. You will be hunted across every star." The human lifted his weapon once more, his silhouette lit by the flames. His voice was steady, unyielding. "Then let them hunt. I'd rather be hunted for saving life than praised for watching it die." The girl clung to her mother, her silver eyes never leaving him. In her heart, she knew this human was more than a stranger. He was a protector, a defier of laws, a bearer of fire. The cave trembled as the new patrols landed. Soldiers poured out, their weapons ready, their voices echoing. "By order of the Galactic Council, surrender immediately." The human turned his head slightly, firelight burning in his eyes. His grip on the weapon tightened. The storm outside roared, snow whipping through the air like blades. Behind him, the mother whispered faintly, her words carrying like a prophecy. "He carries fire, and fire spreads." The human stepped forward. facing the endless shadows of soldiers, his stance unbroken, his heart unafraid, and as the storm swallowed the valley, the galaxy held its breath. Would the Council's law crush one man's defiance? Or would one human's fire ignite a revolution?